everything. So
Dean and I depend on each other, but we're also strong within ourselves, and it's something that we enjoy, and there's freedom with it. I know that I would be fine without him. I wouldn't be. I won't even say it. We work a very as highly a spiritual road together as we can. Put it that way. He's really my equal in terms of where I'm at, which helps a lot too. So that's going to be a biggie too, Kelly. If you're with your spiritual match, it's a lot easier. So I already feel like that's going to be coming up for you. So we want to put this in a way that she can manifest. I'm trying to get some good words here for this.
Well, empowered, mutually empowered.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, so let me.
I like that.
Okay.
People don't want to be submissive and give up their dreams and ambitions just because they become servitude towards someone else's.
Okay. So thank you, Jesus. Kelly now has a relationship where she feels emotionally supported, feels free, can share my life and grow together, spiritually grow together.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if you're spiritually growing together, the other things kind of just start working.
Right.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
I find it a lot easier in my life now to be with someone that understands what's really important to me and who does support what I do without getting threatened by it. There's just far less of a hassle about that than could be otherwise, because we're both on the spiritual path. I mean, we've taken workshops together, those kinds of things. So that, I think, or I feel for you, is a big component of success. And I do feel now, as I'm talking, there's something about your job that we'll work on this a little bit too, but the feeling of bringing more spirituality and meaning to your job, well, we're definitely going to be working on that. I've felt in my life with different jobs that I've had that I've been there to experience some things from my soul. In fact, I was working full-time at my current job that I work very part-time at, and I have a meditation that I do, and I know for you to do sanctuary meditation is very good. I'll talk to you about that, because actually it's a long meditation, the mystery school sanctuary meditation.
Yes, yeah.
Well, I recorded it because I couldn't remember all the steps to it, but as a fellow mystery school initiate, that's a very good meditation to get some really clear answers for yourself. So I
agree. I don't know. I tried doing that several times. I try to meditate as much as possible, but I'm awful at it.
Okay.
I don't hear anything. I don't feel anything. I don't see anything.
Gotcha.
And it's frustrating, so I sometimes stop.
I hear you. Well, we'll work together to open up your third eye and increase your intuition. All right. So what happened when what I've realized and what I've seen and heard other people experience, another reader that I know on Facebook channels, Archangel Uriel, and she was just saying that she felt like she was released from a situation, but she was told by Archangel Uriel that she needed to kind of love the situation she was in before she would be able to leave it, if that makes sense. And when I did that meditation last summer, and I just said, God, I can't do this anymore. I'm really exhausted, and show me when, like you, I am ultra responsible, and I take care of my family, and I've worked at least 2 and 3 jobs most of my life, and it's been quite a breakthrough for me to be on my journey and go on a 2-month leave of absence and now be down to 2 days a week, primarily to maintain my license. I really wanted to go back per diem, which means just very occasionally. But what I'm saying to you is I've been traveling this road just like you have been, to go from a place of being completely driven by a 9 to 5 or mine was 7 to 3 type of job, to having something much more creative supporting me. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did make more money last year than I've ever made in my business, just my business of coaching. So in this down economy, I'm telling you, that was huge. That was huge for me. I've been in business 5 years. I had the best year ever last year. So I don't believe there's any limits. Yep, I know. It's like I said, Jesus, just make me an example. I'll show people miracles. I'm good with that, right? I'll write a book and tell you how to do that too, which I'm doing right now. But the point was, I did this meditation and I heard, the voice of God in me say, Ann, you will be released from that job when you come to terms that, when you stop fighting it, basically, or when you, you know what I'm trying to say? I couldn't go in a job. I hate this stinking job. I want to leave. I can't stand it. I'm going to quit right now. I could have done any of those things, and it was actually a good job. But you have those days, and you're at the end of your road with something. And you just say, I don't want to do this anymore. But I wasn't getting this big sign like, okay, Ann, go give your 2 weeks. No, you don't want to do this job, just don't do it. No, I heard you've got to get to a place where you are at peace, where there's just something some inner work that I had to do to keep bringing myself to another level. Kelly, one of the things that helped me get to this place where I could finally be freed from the grip of the full-time, the full-time situation I was in, I started to go to work, and I just started to really, go with the flow or be present in the moment. And I just stopped fighting how much I was disliking it to a certain degree. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, it does. And I actually was trying to do that, and I think just recently, I've forgotten about that little technique. So
yes, this little technique. Fake it till you make it, right? I know. But there was something about the day that I gave my notice, and then they said you can take a leave of absence. I walked out of there. I felt like $1 million. I felt so much different than me just saying I can't do this and kicking and screaming like a temper tantrum like I wanted to have. I felt like I had matured to a place within myself where I hope you know what I'm saying. It's really hard to describe because I'm not an advocate of doing something you definitely want to do, but I had a lesson to learn around being at peace. And I have a very Zen nature that I aspire to, which means that, or I've talked about this on the show, equanimity, evenness of temper. There's an understanding, if it's Buddhist or Hindu or Christian, I love Jesus, that there's a state of mind where you're just not affected by the outside world. Like if you win the lottery or if you go bankrupt, you are just in the present. And Eckhart Tolle, the author, being in the present moment. When you're in the present moment, you're not grasping or you're not wishing for a raise or wishing to be out of what you're in. You understand? Right. There's something about accepting the moment that I, as a spiritual being, was told to, when I got to that point, I could move on to something else. So there's something in there for you with that. So mull that over as you're at your job. What it took for me sometimes was pulling out all the stops, just kind of remembering what my spiritual values were. And this is where it came up with your relationship to incorporate a little more in spirituality into your relationship. And we'll go back to manifesting in a minute because we want to create a clear vision and picture for you of what you really want with your relationship. But I actually like that you had trouble coming up with a few things because that does show. Do you understand how hard it is for the universe to deliver what you want if you're not clear about it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I know.
So there was something about you bringing more spirituality into your relationship and into your work. And it doesn't mean you go bringing a Bible and thumping it at the workplace, but it does mean that you can start to be kind, that extra measure of kindness, that extra measure of understanding. I mean, I've waitressed at the Olive Garden. I have cleaned houses. I can't tell you the number of jobs that I've had. I've had so many jobs. It's not even funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally started realizing that I could be, doesn't matter. I could be spiritual, and now my big thing is I work for God and Company. I don't really work for an employer, even though they think I do. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I operate on a whole other level. And when you do that, it does make the situation different. So if you could begin to find some more meaningful ways, and we'll work on this, but kindness, compassion, understanding. Do you have to work with the public a lot in your job?
No, just a lot of
paperwork and
grouchy hospital people, and and I'm in my office.
I work in a hospital too. I work in healthcare. Yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
So imagine you being your highly spiritual self, and you not being moved by any grumbly dispositions. I'm not saying be Pollyanna or Susie Sunshine. Not that there's something deeper where you can apply compassion and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Are you following me?
Yes. Yep. I can do that.
Yeah, I know you can. And when you start to do that, you get such a great. You really do shift things in the workplace. Not everybody will be bowled over, but there will be people that when you take the moment to be kind, when otherwise.
Well, yeah, I mean, I typically keep to myself. Like, I rarely talk to anybody.
Is that lonely for you?
It is. It's pretty awful.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to we'll be manifesting job and relationship, but for the time being, do what you can in any small increments to just remember to bring your spiritual self to work with you, and at least begin to acknowledge that you do have a higher nature to your soul that's really running the show, and just put that in your awareness. And I remember when I worked as a assistant property manager years ago, I was the receptionist / everybody's assistant property manager. It basically meant whatever crap work, seriously, that people didn't want to do, they dump on my desk, and I could have suffocated from all the paperwork people would throw at me with delight. Oh, here, Anne, here's 10,000 more pages to file, right?
Right.
If that job didn't kill me, I don't know what would. But then I had like 75 phone calls a day to answer. Now get this, Kelly. I was at the main desk, like the main receptionist of this company, starting at 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. My kids are little, I was going through a divorce, like you. I had to put food on the table, and I thought, I'm going to be a single mother. I've got to stick with this job because you know the story, right?
Yeah.
So there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So this wasn't even that long ago.
Unless you have some completely stable and like a great opportunity. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
Yes, I was making good money. Let me tell you, I was making good money. I was also working, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. I was. Let me see. Let me tell you about this. This was literally 6 years ago. That was not that long ago. Okay, I'm not.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so 6 years ago. I'm going through a divorce. I'm going to work from 8 to 4. I'm sitting at this big, huge desk with all these phone lines, and the phone doesn't stop ringing. Now, get this kicker. I had to answer the phone and file at the same time, and the filing cabinet was 2 rooms away. So guess what Ann did? Can you see me? Like, seriously? I was just starting to open the drawer to file. The phone rings. I run back. And then all the property managers sitting on their you-know-whats. I mean, here's more work, Ann. I thought, oh, for crying out loud. But my belief system, and literally I did that job for 2 years. And I don't know if I ever came to a place of acceptance. I thought, oh, for crying out loud, if I have to file these 10,000 pages, because I just do it without answering the phone for 2 minutes, or copy 500-page manuals for people, or fax, unending faxes that don't go through and get jammed. I mean, I was the trash receptacle basically for everybody's